Two UK-based organizations, Africa.com Developed and African People's Advocacy, have organized the first edition of Pitching Africa in the City. The purpose of this event: gather together English investors and the African diaspora in London in order to create a business relationship with Africa. Krola Cheba has more.
How can you do business in Africa without much information on the African market? DevelopedAfrica.com and the African People's Advocacy have organised the first edition of Pitching Africa in the City. The idea behind the event is simple. If you want to do business in the continent, speak to the diaspora.
We've provided a platform and we're creating awareness. The first problem in Africa is information deficit. If information can be made available to the people, then people are more knowledgeable about how they will engage in Africa. One of the people from the city asked the question, it's a perception, how do I engage Africa? And we're saying, why should you be the only person who is obstructing yourself from engaging Africa? African diaspora have bigger empathy to invest or see Africa develop. So we're keeping open the platform to everybody. China is not waiting for the scenario, the environment to be right to invest in Africa. China is going into Africa, and that's why China is recording quite substantial growth in Africa. We want the city, we want African diaspora to do exactly the same thing.
Chris Cleverly is passionate about Africa. Coming from Sierra Leone descent, the young lawyer and entrepreneur wants to share his experience. He has been part of a team which advises the UK on development issues in Africa.
Well, I think it's important to give to other people. I think as a diasporan, it's important to give what knowledge I have. I'm a lawyer, I'm an entrepreneur myself, I've done a bit of fund management, and I think if I can provide those kind of services to people, then we're P. I think I've done my job. I think this is a moment in which Africa is a very positive place. I think there's a lot to do, and these are the people who want to do it. The message of business is that there's always business to be done. And when people don't see an opportunity, it's the opportunity that you should be looking for.
But despite the success of the first edition of Pitching Africa in the City, the organisation has been able to tackle one of the major issues.
There is a lot of opportunity in Africa. There is a lot of choice. What we need to look at is how that choice is utilised so that there is no exploitation of the common man. And for me, that is my major concern at this point. But opportunities abound. In terms of what Sylvie spoke about, the miracle of the people, the miracle of the continent, and then the opportunities. It is in abundance in Africa.
For sure, Africa's opportunities are increasingly catching the attention of multinational companies around the world. But do Africans benefit from the foreign investment? Maybe.
It's time to take another look at the headline-making stories in the News Bulletin.